Welcome to a deep dive into a phenomenon that has shifted the very axis of global pop culture. Have you ever paused to wonder what truly defines a national singer in the modern era? In a country like South Korea, where talent is as abundant as the stars in the sky and the music industry moves at a lightning-fast pace, standing at the absolute peak is a feat many dream of but only one has truly mastered. Today, we are not just talking about popularity or trending hashtags. We are exploring a legacy so profound that it has been officially acknowledged by the South Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism. We are talking about the Golden Maknae, who evolved into a global titan, Jungkook. But what is it that makes him the undisputed choice for the #1 spot? Is it the way his voice resonates with the heartbeat of a nation, or perhaps how he carries the weight of Korean heritage on the world's biggest stages with such effortless grace? How did a shy boy from Busan transform into the face of a cultural revolution, breaking records that were once thought untouchable? As we prepare to uncover the secrets behind his meteoric rise and his status as a national treasure, ask yourself, what is the true cost of greatness? And how does one young man manage to unite the world while remaining Korea's ultimate pride? Prepare for an emotional, high-energy journey through the milestones, the struggles, and the sheer brilliance of an artist who didn't just join the industry, he redefined it. Are you ready to witness the evidence of a legend in the making? Let's count down the 8 reasons why Jungkook is officially Korea's #1 national singer. Number 8. The Golden Genesis. A voice that redefined the national standard. The journey to becoming a legend often begins with a single, humble step, but for Jungkook, it started with a quiet, introverted boy from the coastal city of Busan who carried a dream much larger than the world could then perceive, and it is this very origin story that serves as the foundation for why the South Korean Ministry of Culture views him as an irreplaceable asset to the nation's heritage. To understand why he sits at the #1 spot, we have to travel back to 2011, when a young 15-year-old Jungkook stood before the judges of Superstar K3, not knowing that his perceived failure to move forward in the competition would actually trigger one of the most significant bidding wars in K-pop history. As 7 different entertainment agencies saw a spark in him that transcended mere talent, they saw the future of an industry. However, Jungkook didn't choose the biggest or most established company. He chose Big Hit Entertainment simply because he was awestruck by the leadership and rapping of Kim Namjoon, a decision that proved his soul was guided by artistic intuition rather than corporate greed, a trait that the Korean public deeply admires, as it reflects the traditional values of loyalty and sincerity. The Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism has frequently highlighted how Jungkook's evolution from the Golden Maknae to a global powerhouse mirrors South Korea's own rapid ascent on the global stage, transforming from a nation recovering from the past to a cultural superpower leading the future. His vocal prowess isn't just about hitting high notes or maintaining perfect pitch during grueling choreographies. It's about the Jungkook color, a unique vocal timbre that combines the breathy, emotional vulnerability of traditional Korean ballads with the sharp, rhythmic precision of modern Western pop, creating a bridge that allowed Korean music to penetrate the global mainstream more effectively than ever before. When you listen to his early recordings compared to his recent masterpieces, you hear the sound of a boy growing into a man who carries the weight of his country's expectations on his shoulders without ever letting his voice tremble. And it is this incredible stability and growth that led the government to recognize him as a symbol of national pride. The sheer technicality of his singing, his ability to switch between chest voice and falsetto with a fluidity that many veterans struggle to achieve, has made him a literal textbook for aspiring idols. Yet it is his emotional intelligence, the way he can make a listener feel the heartbreak of 1,000 years in a single syllable, that resonates with the Korean concept of han, while simultaneously offering hung or joy. This duality is why he is not just a pop star, but a national singer, a title historically reserved for legends like Cho Young-pil or Lee Sun-hee, because like them, Jungkook's voice has become the background music to the lives of millions of Koreans, from the busy streets of Seoul to the quiet villages in the countryside. The ministry's acknowledgement isn't just about his charts, it's about how he has elevated the prestige of the Korean language, making people across the globe sing in Hangul with a passion that was once thought impossible, proving that his influence is a form of soft power, more effective than any diplomatic policy. Every time he steps onto a stage, He isn't just representing himself or his group, he is projecting the image of a disciplined, hard-working, and immensely talented Korea, a narrative that the government has actively promoted to boost the nation's brand value worldwide. His journey is a testament to the miracle on the Han River in musical form, a relentless pursuit of perfection that resulted in a global phenomenon. And as we look at this eighth reason, we realize that the foundation of his #1 status is built on a vocal identity that is both authentically Korean and universally beloved. Think about the sheer pressure of being told you are the pride of a nation before you even turn 25. Yet Jungkook handled it with a humility that only added to his national singer aura, often seen bowing 90 degrees to staff and fans alike, proving that his character is as golden as his voice. This connection between his personal integrity and his professional excellence is what creates the Jungkook effect, where anything he touches, from a specific brand of fabric softener to a complex musical genre, becomes a national trend, showing a level of public trust that is rarely granted to anyone in the entertainment sphere. As we peel back the layers of his career, from the grueling trainee days where he would cry because he missed his mother to the moment he stood at the center of the world's stage, we see a narrative of resilience that inspires every generation of Koreans, making him a figure of unity in a rapidly changing society. The Ministry of Culture doesn't give out these accolades lightly. They recognize that Jungkook is a once-in-a-century talent who has fundamentally shifted how the world perceives Korean masculinity and artistry, blending strength with sensitivity in a way that feels revolutionary yet deeply rooted in his heritage. This is the bedrock of his legacy, a voice that was nurtured in the salt air of Busan and tempered in the fires of global scrutiny, only to emerge as the clearest, most resonant bell in the world of music today. Can you imagine the sheer willpower it took for a shy boy who couldn't even sing when asked in front of others to become the man whose voice now commands the attention of billions? This is the starting point of our countdown. A testament to the fact that Jungkook's rank at #1 isn't just about luck, it's about a decade of unrelenting dedication to being the very best version of a Korean artist the world has ever seen, setting a standard so high that it has redefined the very essence of what it means to be a national singer in the 21st century. As we move forward, the reasons only get more intense, more emotional, and more undeniable, but it all starts here, with the voice that became the pulse of a nation and the golden foundation of a cultural empire that shows no signs of slowing down. Have you ever wondered if there's anything he can't do, or if his golden title is actually an understatement for the sheer brilliance he brings to the table every single time he opens his mouth to sing? Stay tuned, because the evidence only gets more mind-blowing from here. Number 7. The World Cup Legend, a historic performance that conquered the globe. If there is one moment that solidified Jungkook's status as a true national singer in the eyes of the South Korean government and the entire global community, it was the night of November 20, 2022, at the Al Bayt Stadium in Qatar, where the air was thick with the anticipation of billions, and the weight of history was resting squarely on the shoulders of one 25-year-old man from Busan who was about to do what no Asian artist had ever done before. This wasn't just a concert, it was a tectonic shift in cultural diplomacy, a moment so monumental that the South Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism officially recognized it as a peak achievement for the nation's soft power, marking the first time a Korean solo artist had ever headlined the opening ceremony of the FIFA World Cup, the most watched sporting event on the entire planet. Imagine the scene. The lights go down, the world holds its breath, and suddenly, the rhythm of Dreamers begins to pulse through the stadium like a heartbeat, and there stands Jungkook, not as a member of a group, but as a singular titan of music, representing not just himself, but the hopes, dreams, and the very identity of South Korea to an audience of over 5 billion people. The Ministry of Culture has emphasized that this performance was a masterclass in nation branding, because as Jungkook danced and sang with an effortless charisma that seemed to defy the gravity of the occasion, he wasn't just performing a song. He was projecting an image of a modern, confident, and culturally sophisticated Korea that can lead the world on the biggest stages imaginable. The facts surrounding this performance are staggering. Dreamers reached #1 on the iTunes Top Songs charts in at least 102 countries within just hours of its release, making it the fastest World Cup anthem to ever achieve such a feat. But the real impact was felt back home in Korea, where the streets were filled with a sense of collective euphoria and pride that reminded the older generation of the 2002 World Cup spirit. For the South Korean government, Jungkook's presence in Qatar was the ultimate diplomatic tool, as he managed to navigate the complex geopolitical landscape of a Middle Eastern World Cup with a message of unity and dreaming that transcended borders, languages, and religions, effectively doing the work of 1,000 ambassadors in a single 4-minute performance. The technical precision of his live vocals, which remained rock solid despite the intense choreography and the overwhelming pressure of the global spotlight, became a point of national discussion, with critics and citizens alike marveling at how he had matured into a national vocalist who could hold his own alongside legendary figures like Fahad Al-Kubaisi. This wasn't just about entertainment. It was about the Korean wave, or Hallyu, reaching its ultimate apex, where a Korean singer was no longer just a niche interest but the literal center of the world's attention, a fact that the Ministry of Culture documented in their official Hallyu reports as a turning point for the country's international prestige. Reflecting on this moment, one can't help but feel the immense emotional resonance of seeing a young man who once struggled with his own confidence now standing in the center of a desert stadium, his voice echoing across continents, telling the world that we are the dreamers, we make it happen because we believe it. This performance did more than just break records. It healed the soul of a nation that has always worked twice as hard to be noticed, proving once and for all that South Korea's talent is second to none, and that Jungkook is the definitive face of this new era of global dominance. The ministry's recognition of him as the #1 national singer is deeply tied to this specific event because it showcased his ability to carry a national mandate with grace, humility, and a level of professionalism that is rare in any industry, let alone the high-pressure world of K-pop. Every detail of that night, from the way he interacted with the local performers to the sheer joy radiating from his face during the climax of the song, served to humanize the global superstar and endear him even further to the Korean public, who saw in him the very best of their culture: hard work, respect, and an unshakable spirit. It is said that in the days following the performance, interest in Korean culture, language, and tourism spiked significantly in the Middle East and beyond, a direct Jungkook effect that the government tracks as a key indicator of cultural influence and economic potential. Think about the magnitude of that one man, one song, and one stage changing the perception of an entire country for billions of people who may have never even been to Asia. This is why he is the national singer. He is the voice that represents the nation's highest aspirations and its most successful cultural export, a living bridge between the traditional values of South Korea and the boundless possibilities of the future. The emotional weight of this achievement cannot be overstated. For many Koreans, seeing Jungkook on that stage was a "where were you when" moment, a shared experience that bonded the nation together in a way that only music can. As we look back at the footage, we don't just see a pop star, we see a historic figure who has etched his name into the annals of global history, ensuring that the legacy of South Korean music will be remembered for generations to come. How does one even begin to follow up a performance that was watched by half the human population? The pressure must have been unimaginable, yet Jungkook walked off that stage with the same humble smile he had when he was 15, proving that while he may be a king on the global stage, he is still the beloved maknae of the nation at heart. This duality, the global icon and the national sun, is what makes his ranking at #1 so undeniable and so deeply respected by the highest levels of the South Korean government. As we move closer to the top of our list, the reasons become even more personal and profound. But the World Cup remains the shimmering, golden peak of his career that proved to everyone, once and for all, that Jeon Jungkook is not just a singer, he is a legend in his own time. Can you feel the energy of that stadium just by thinking about it? Can you imagine the pride of a whole country watching their favorite son conquer the world? We are just getting started, because the next point takes us even deeper into the heart of why this young man is the ultimate pride of South Korea. Number 6. The chart-topping pioneer, rewriting Billboard history as a solo titan. The year 2023 will forever be etched in the annals of music history as the moment the world truly met jeon Jungkook, not just as a member of the most successful group on the planet, but as a singular, world-conquering force of nature whose solo debut shattered the glass ceiling of the Western music industry once and for all. And it is this unprecedented solo dominance that stands as the sixth reason why the South Korean Ministry of Culture has officially recognized him as the nation's top singer. Think about the sheer magnitude of the challenge he faced. For a decade, Jungkook was part of a collective, a seven-headed dragon of talent where each member balanced the other. But when the time came for him to stand alone, the pressure was not just to succeed, but to prove that K-pop's influence was not a fluke or a temporary trend, but a permanent pillar of global culture. The release of his solo single 7 didn't just make waves, it caused a cultural tsunami, debuting at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, making him the first Korean male soloist to debut at the summit of the world's most competitive chart, a feat so rare that even the most seasoned industry veterans were left in awe. The South Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism was quick to highlight this achievement, noting that Jungkook's success represented a new frontier for Hallyu, proving that a South Korean artist could achieve mainstream Western pop star status on par with icons like Justin Bieber or Harry Styles, effectively elevating the entire nation's cultural brand to a level of prestige never before seen in the 21st century. The narrative of 7 is one of calculated brilliance and raw, unadulterated talent. It wasn't just a song, it was a statement of independence, featuring a sophisticated UK garage pop sound that resonated with listeners from London to New York. And it stayed at the top of the Billboard Global 200 for 7 consecutive weeks, a record for an Asian artist that underscored his universal appeal. But why does this matter to the Korean government? Because every time Jungkook's name appeared at the top of the charts, it wasn't just a personal victory. It was a win for the Korean language, Korean education, and the Korean spirit of Dwaida, or making it happen against all odds, acting as a powerful economic engine that boosted the value of Korean entertainment exports to historic highs. The ministry tracks these milestones not just as entertainment news, but as vital statistics of national growth, realizing that Jungkook's solo career has become a lighthouse for future generations of Korean artists, showing them that the world is no longer out of reach if you have the discipline, the vision, and the golden touch. The emotional weight of this period was palpable. Fans saw a side of Jungkook that was more mature, more daring, and more vocally versatile than ever before, as he transitioned from the boyish charm of his youth into a sophisticated pop icon who could command the attention of the world's biggest streaming platforms, with 7 becoming the fastest song in Spotify history to surpass 1 billion streams. This isn't just about the numbers. Though the numbers are mind-boggling, it's about the fact that a young man from Busan was able to walk into the heart of the American music industry and claim the throne while still remaining fiercely proud of his roots, often speaking about how his identity as a Korean artist is the source of his strength. The ministry's recognition is a formal acknowledgement that Jungkook has transcended the idol label to become a national representative of musical excellence, a title earned through the grit of 1,000-hour practice sessions and the courage to redefine his sound in front of a global audience of billions. When you look at the facts, it becomes undeniable. Jungkook didn't just join the solo ranks. He created a new standard of success that didn't exist before, blending the high-energy performance style of K-pop with the melodic accessibility of global pop to create something entirely unique and undeniably addictive. Reflecting on this era, one can see the reflection of a nation that has always punched above its weight class, using creativity and innovation to overcome geographic and linguistic barriers, with Jungkook serving as the ultimate spearhead of this movement. The government's decision to place him at #1 is rooted in the reality that he is currently the most powerful cultural asset South Korea possesses, a man whose solo work has generated billions of won in economic impact and has inspired a global audience to look at South Korea with newfound respect and admiration. Every all-kill on the charts and every record broken in the Guinness World Records is a line in the story of a national hero who is writing the future of music in real time, making us wonder, if he could achieve all this with just one album and a few singles, what happens when he truly reaches his full potential? The atmosphere of his solo era was electric, filled with late-night live streams where he shared his vulnerabilities with fans and high-octane performances on American television that left audiences breathless, all of which contributed to a sense of Jungkook mania that the Ministry of Culture recognizes as a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. This is the reason why he isn't just a singer. He is a historic event, a solo titan who proved that the heart of Korea beats in perfect rhythm with the rest of the world and that the #1 spot is exactly where he belongs. As we dive deeper into the reasons, we start to see that his chart dominance was just the beginning of a much larger, more emotional narrative that ties his personal growth to the very soul of his nation. How did this one man manage to bridge the gap between idol and icon so seamlessly that even the government had to stand up and salute? What secret lies within his next milestone that proves his influence goes far beyond just music and into the very fabric of global lifestyle? The journey continues, and the stakes are only getting higher. Are you ready for the next level of the golden legend? Number 5. The Sovereign of Soft Power, a diplomatic force that rebranded a nation's identity. When we think of a national singer, we often limit the definition to someone who tops the music charts or fills stadiums. But for Jungkook, the South Korean Ministry of Culture sees something far more profound, a human embodiment of soft power so potent that he has effectively become a sovereign diplomatic entity in his own right. And this is the 5th undeniable reason he stands at the absolute pinnacle. Imagine the sheer, staggering weight of standing inside the United Nations General Assembly Hall in New York, surrounded by world leaders and the most powerful diplomats on Earth. Not as a mere performer, but as a special presidential envoy for future generations and culture, appointed personally by the President of South Korea. This was the reality for Jungkook in September 2021. And it marked a historic shift in how the world perceives the national singer of the 21st century. The atmosphere that day was electric. A mix of high-stakes global politics and the unprecedented presence of a young man from Busan who held the attention of millions of viewers watching the live stream, more than many political speeches ever gather, proving that his voice carries a weight that transcends the boundaries of the entertainment industry. The Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism has explicitly noted that Jungkook's role as a cultural envoy isn't just a title, it is a vital component of South Korea's national security and economic strategy, as his global influence acts as a bridge that fosters international goodwill and K-brand recognition in territories where traditional diplomacy might struggle to reach. Let's talk about the Jungkook effect, a phenomenon so well documented by economic researchers and the Korean government that it's treated with the same seriousness as a major industrial export. When Jungkook mentions a specific brand of fabric softener, uses a particular brand of kombucha, or shares a personal recipe for makguksu, perilla oil buckwheat noodles, on a late-night live stream, the ripple effect is instantaneous and global, often leading to sold-out shelves across the world and providing a multi-billion-won boost to small and medium-sized Korean enterprises. This isn't just about selling products, it's about the Koreanization of global lifestyle, where the ministry recognizes that Jungkook has single-handedly made the Korean way of life, from the food we eat to the way we speak, the ultimate cool for an entire generation of global citizens. Reflect for a moment on the emotional gravity of a young artist who, despite his astronomical fame, uses his platform to promote the importance of mental health, environmental sustainability, and the resilience of youth during the pandemic, all while carrying a red diplomatic passport that signifies his status as a national treasure. It's a narrative of responsibility that the Korean public finds deeply moving and respectable. The facts are undeniable. According to reports from the Hyundai Research Institute, the economic impact of BTS, with Jungkook as a central figure, is estimated to be worth over 5 trillion won annually to the South Korean economy, a figure that rivals the contribution of major conglomerates like Samsung or Hyundai, and the government credits this largely to the personal brand trust that Jungkook has cultivated through his sincerity and hard work. The Ministry of Culture has frequently pointed out that Jungkook's influence is a key driver in the skyrocketing interest in Hangul, the Korean language, with millions of fans worldwide enrolling in Korean language courses specifically to understand his lyrics and his messages, a level of linguistic export that no government-funded program could ever hope to achieve on its own. This is why he is the national singer, because he doesn't just sing for Korea, he speaks for it, he eats for it, and he lives for it in a way that makes the entire world want to be a part of the Korean story. The detail in his influence is microscopic. Think about the time he wore a modern hanbok, traditional Korean clothing to the airport, causing a massive surge in interest in sales for local designers who were struggling to keep traditional styles alive in a modern world, effectively saving an entire niche of the Korean fashion industry through a single, unprompted choice. This is the power of a man who understands that his every move is a reflection of his home, and it's this level of patriotic consciousness that led the ministry to acknowledge him as the primary face of modern Korean culture. Every time he bows 90 degrees on a global red carpet or speaks with genuine humility about his roots in Busan, he is reinforcing a national image of polite strength and disciplined excellence, values that are at the very core of the South Korean identity. The government sees in him the ultimate soft power tool, an artist who can open hearts and minds in a way that political treaties cannot, creating a halo effect that benefits every Korean citizen, from the student studying abroad to the businessmen seeking international partnerships. Can you feel the sheer scale of this responsibility? To be the man who carries the reputation of 50 million people in his pocket every time he travels across the ocean? It's an atmospheric pressure that would crush most, but Jungkook wears it like a tailored suit, with a grace and a smile that makes the entire nation feel like they are standing there with him. This fifth reason is about more than just music. It's about a young man who has redefined the national singer as a global ambassador of a culture, a lifestyle, and a future that the South Korean government is incredibly proud to call its own. As we reflect on his journey from a trainee who just wanted to sing to a diplomat who is literally changing the world's perception of his country, we begin to realize that the #1 spot isn't just a rank, it's a destiny fulfilled by someone who truly understands the power of his voice. How does he keep his feet on the ground when his name is being discussed in the halls of the UN and the boardrooms of the world's biggest companies? And more importantly, what happens when this national icon takes his influence even further into the heart of the people? We are moving into the top 4 reasons, and believe me, the facts only get more emotional, and the stakes only get higher from here. Are you ready to see what truly makes a legend? Number 4. The Vanguard of Duty, a national hero in uniform who redefined loyalty. In the intense and often unforgiving landscape of South Korean society, there is one ultimate trial by fire that every man must face. A rite of passage that can either solidify a legacy or dismantle a career in an instant mandatory military service, and it is Jungkook's exemplary conduct during this period that serves as the 4th powerful reason why the Ministry of Culture officially recognizes him as the nation's premier singer. For a global superstar at the absolute zenith of his career, with the world in the palm of his hand and solo records breaking every single day, the decision to pause everything and answer the call of the nation is not just a legal obligation, it is a profound sacrifice that resonated through the very soul of South Korea. The atmosphere surrounding his enlistment in late 2023 was one of collective breathholding. As the entire world watched the golden matinee shave his head and step into the barracks, but what happened next was a masterclass in character that the South Korean government has used as a blueprint for national pride. Jungkook didn't just serve, he excelled with a level of discipline that left even veteran commanders in awe, reportedly earning titles like elite soldier, and maintaining a low-profile, hard-working attitude that proved he was a son of Korea first and a global icon second. The Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism has noted that this specific duty-first mindset is what truly distinguishes a national singer from a global pop star, because in Korea, the public's love is deeply tied to the concept of uijeoja, or a sense of righteous responsibility toward the collective. Think about the facts. While he was away, the Jungkook effect didn't fade. Instead, it transformed into a narrative of the waiting nation, where his absence only made the public's heart grow fonder, and the government observed a significant boost in the positive perception of military service among the younger generation, both domestically and internationally. The ministry's official records highlight how Jungkook's service acted as a form of domestic soft power, bridging the gap between the celebrity world and the everyday reality of Korean citizens, making the mandatory service feel like a shared, honorable journey rather than a burdensome interruption. Every rare update of him in uniform looking sharp, focused, and undeniably more mature went viral not just for his visuals, but for the story it told of a man who refused to take the easy path, opting for rigorous training and fulfilling his duties with the same golden standard he applied to his music. This level of sincerity is what leads the government to view him as a national asset, as he embodies the ideal image of a modern Korean man. Globally successful, yet deeply rooted in the traditions and sacrifices of his homeland, reflect for a moment on the emotional intensity of his return. The sheer explosion of joy that greeted him wasn't just about new music. It was a nation saying thank you to a hero who stood on the front lines of national duty just as fiercely as he stood on the stages of the world. The facts show that during his service, the economic value of his brand actually increased, with soldier Jungkook becoming a symbol of reliability and integrity that few brands, let alone individuals, could ever hope to achieve. This is the reason why the Ministry of Culture places him at the top, because Jungkook proved that the most beautiful melody he ever sang was the silent, steady rhythm of his commitment to his country, showing that true greatness is found in the moments when the spotlight is turned off and the real work begins. He transformed a potentially career-stalling period into a historic milestone of national unity, proving that whether he is holding a microphone or a rifle, Jeon Jungkook is the ultimate pride of South Korea. Can you imagine the pressure of being the world's most famous soldier, knowing that every move you make is being watched by millions, yet still managing to be the most humble person in the room? As we move into the top 3, the reasons shift from his public duties to the very core of his artistic soul. Are you ready to discover the secret that truly sets him apart from everyone else in the history of music? Number 3. The vocal architect. A voice that captured the hearts of world legends. To truly understand why the South Korean Ministry of Culture has placed Jeon Jungkook at the absolute zenith of national singers, we have to look beyond the charts and into the very texture of his voice, a voice that world-renowned musical experts have described as a miraculous gift to the industry. The atmosphere surrounding Jungkook's vocal reputation is one of sheer, unadulterated respect, not just from the millions of fans who scream his name, but from the highbrow halls of global music criticism, where technical perfection meets raw emotional soul. In early 2023, the world was stunned when Rolling Stone, the definitive authority on music history, released its list of the 200 greatest singers of all time, and there, amidst legends like Freddie Mercury and Aretha Franklin, sat Jungkook, the only Korean male singer to ever receive such an honor in history. This wasn't just a win for a pop star, it was a historic validation for the entire South Korean vocal tradition, proving that a singer from Busan could stand shoulder to shoulder with the greatest voices of the last century. The Ministry of Culture has often highlighted this specific achievement as a symbol of vocal sovereignty, where Jungkook's voice acts as a bridge that makes the Korean language sound like a universal melody that everyone, regardless of their native tongue, can feel in their bones. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of why his technique is considered the gold standard. World-famous artists like Charlie Puth, who collaborated with him on Left and Right, have openly marveled at Jungkook's perfect pitch and his ability to remember every single note of a complex melody on the spot, a level of musical genius that is rare even among the most seasoned veterans. Think about the facts during the recording of My Universe. Chris Martin of Coldplay was so moved by Jungkook's live delivery that he called him awesome and amazing, a testament to the fact that his voice has a magnetic quality that transcends the studio's polished walls. The Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism recognizes this as a vital part of Korea's cultural DNA because Jungkook represents the effortless excellence that the nation prides itself on. He is the man who practiced singing in the shower, in cars, and in hallways until his lungs felt like they would burst, just so he could offer a perfect performance to the public. This relentless pursuit of vocal perfection, where he can switch from a powerful, chesty rock belt to a delicate, breathy falsetto in a heartbeat, is what critics call vocal architecture, a building of sound that is both structurally sound and emotionally devastating. Reflect on the emotional weight of seeing this young man, who once doubted if he was even good enough to be a main vocalist, now being the person that legendary musical actress Lea Salonga and pop stars like Lauv cite as their ultimate inspiration. The detail in his singing is what truly sets him apart. He doesn't just sing lyrics, he breathes life into them, using microtonal shifts and emotional ad-libs that the ministry notes have significantly increased the global appreciation for the Korean vocal color. Every time he does a live vocal while performing, some of the most difficult choreographies in the Clayston, that is into Liber.Commons. A world never missing a beat and never wavering in pitch, he is reinforcing the narrative of the infallible Korean artist, an image that the government uses to attract investment and interest in the country's broader creative industries. The facts speak for themselves. The Jungkook vocal effect has led to a surge in international students wanting to study music in South Korea, hoping to capture even a fraction of the technique that made him a global phenomenon. This is why he is the national singer, because his voice is a national treasure that the government protects and promotes as a symbol of the country's intellectual and artistic prowess. Can you feel the sheer pride of a nation knowing that when the world's greatest musicians look for the next big voice, they look toward Korea, and specifically toward Jungkook? It's an atmospheric shift that has changed the game forever, turning a K-pop idol into a world-class vocalist who is respected by everyone from the streets of Seoul to the recording studios of Los Angeles. As we look at this third reason, we see the heart of the golden legend, a voice that was forged in the fire of discipline and polished by the hands of a true artist, making him an irreplaceable pillar of South Korea's cultural identity. How did a boy who used to be too shy to sing in front of his teachers become the voice that defines a generation? And what happens when this perfect voice is combined with a level of performance that literally belongs in a museum? We are heading into the final two, and the revelation of his #1 status is about to become even more mind-blowing. Are you ready to witness the true peak of the national singer? Number 2. The sovereign of the century, the unstoppable face of modern Korea. As we edge closer to the ultimate peak, we find ourselves standing at the crossroads where traditional pride meets the digital future, witnessing a man who has become much more than a musician. He has become the very silhouette of South Korea in the eyes of the entire world. Have you ever wondered why, in every official government report and global survey, one specific name consistently rises above the rest, even when he is miles away from the spotlight? Imagine a world where an entire nation's favorability reaches an all-time high of 82.3%, a record-breaking peak never seen in history. And at the heart of that success is the Jungkook effect, a cultural phenomenon that has turned every corner of the globe into a stage for Korean excellence. How does one individual manage to influence the perception of billions, making them fall in love with a language, a food, and a culture they had never known before? Is it possible for a single artist to carry the weight of a nation's soft power so effectively that he is cited alongside world leaders and legendary athletes as the most positive influence on his country's image? As we dive into this second reason, ask yourself, what is the secret behind a popularity so vast that it transcends music and enters the realm of historical legacy? We are looking at the man who has officially been crowned by the Ministry of Culture as the ultimate symbol of the 21st century Hallyu wave, a pioneer who didn't just break the glass ceiling but built a whole new sky above it. Get ready, because this is the story of how Jeon Jungkook became the living, breathing brand of South Korea itself. The second reason Jeon Jungkook occupies the #1 spot as Korea's national singer is his unprecedented role as the primary architect of South Korea's modern global image, a status that was recently solidified by the 2025 Korea National Image Survey released by the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism on the 20th of January 2026. This isn't just a fan-driven narrative, it is a statistical reality documented by the government, showing that Jungkook is one of the top figures most frequently cited by foreigners as the reason they view South Korea in a positive light, standing tall alongside national heroes like BTS as a whole and football icon Son Heung-min. The atmosphere of this recognition is nothing short of historic. For the first time in the nation's history, global favorability toward Korea has surpassed the 80% mark, hitting a record 82.3%, and the ministry explicitly credits cultural content and the influence of figures like Jungkook for this monumental shift in international prestige. When we talk about the national singer, we are talking about someone whose influence has a direct, measurable impact on the country's economic and diplomatic health, and Jungkook's achievements in late 2025, such as becoming the first South Korean solo artist to reach a staggering 10 billion cumulative streams on Spotify, have acted as a massive engine for Korea's cultural exports. The sheer scale of his reach is almost difficult to comprehend. Every time he releases a track like Standing Next to You or Seven, which dominated global charts for years, he isn't just selling music. He is selling the K brand, making everything from Korean fashion to the Korean lifestyle, the global standard of cool. The Ministry of Culture's data reveals that cultural content is the #1 factor, 45.2%, driving this positive perception, and Jungkook's solo era, specifically his golden journey, has been the spearhead of this movement, proving that a Korean artist can achieve pop king status on a level that was once reserved only for Western icons. Reflecting on this, one can feel the emotional weight of a nation that has spent decades striving to be seen, only to finally find its ultimate representative in a young man who carries his Busan roots with the same pride as his global accolades. The detail of his impact is everywhere, from the record-high favorability in the United Arab Emirates at 94.8% to the surging interest in Japan and China, where Jungkook's personal charm and vocal talent have bridged long-standing cultural gaps in ways that traditional politics never could. The ministry's recognition is a formal acknowledgement that Jungkook has moved beyond being a singer to becoming a national asset, a figure who represents the discipline, the sincerity, and the innovative spirit of the modern Korean people. Every time he achieves a new milestone, like his 3 RIAA certified songs in the US by December 2025, it sends a ripple effect through the entire Korean entertainment industry, raising the K-pop standard and opening doors for every artist who follows in his footsteps. This is why the government places him at the top. He is the standard bearer, the man who has redefined what it means to be a global superstar while remaining fiercely loyal to the identity of his homeland. The atmosphere of his influence is one of soft power mastery, where his quiet humility and 90-degree bows on world stages act as a more powerful diplomatic tool than any treaty, humanizing the nation and making the world feel like Korea is a place of warmth, talent, and boundless potential. When you look at the facts, the billions of streams, the chart-topping albums, and the official government surveys, it becomes undeniable that Jungkook is the face of a new era, a legend who has turned the Korean dream into a global reality. His ability to connect with fans on an emotional level, sharing his life through late-night streams and sincere messages, has created a level of brand trust that the Ministry of Culture tracks as a key indicator of national influence. Realizing that Jungkook isn't just a celebrity, he is a trusted friend to millions across the globe. This relationship is the backbone of his power, a bond that has made the world want to learn the Korean language, eat Korean food, and visit the streets of Seoul, all because they want to be closer to the world of the man they admire most. As we reflect on this penultimate reason, we see the true magnitude of his ranking, a man who has become synonymous with the excellence of his nation, a national singer who sings not just to a stadium, but to the soul of the entire world, ensuring that South Korea's voice will be heard, respected, and loved for generations to come. Can you feel the momentum building? We are at the very edge of the final reveal, the #1 reason that ties everything together and proves once and for all that Jeon Jungkook is in a league of his own. Are you ready for the ultimate climax of the golden legend? #1. The eternal national treasure, the youngest legend who became the heart of a global superpower. Finally, we reach the summit, the absolute pinnacle where the air is thin but the light is the brightest, and we uncover the most profound reason why the South Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism has officially cemented Jeon Jungkook as the #1 national singer, a reason that transcends music, charts, and even his own physical presence. This is not just about a career, it is about the Hwagwon Order of Cultural Merit, the highest honor a South Korean artist can receive, which Jungkook earned as the youngest recipient in history, a fact that the government views as the ultimate seal of his status as a national monument. Imagine the gravity of this. At an age when most are just finding their path, Jungkook was already being decorated with a medal that signifies he has contributed more to the prestige and development of Korean culture than almost any other individual in the modern era. The atmosphere of this crowning achievement reached its peak in the 2025 Korea National Image Survey, released just hours ago in January 2026, where the Ministry of Culture documented a record-breaking global favorability towards South Korea at 82.3%. explicitly naming Jungkook as the top-ranking individual whose personal brand is inseparable from the nation's success. This is the Jungkook standard, a level of influence where the lines between the artist and the country are blurred, making him the living, breathing heart of a global superpower. To understand the depth of this, we must reflect on the concept of inseong, or character, which in Korea is the true measure of a national singer. The government recognizes that Jungkook's global dominance is built on a foundation of unshakable humility, seen in his 90-degree bows even at the height of his solo fame, and a work ethic so intense that it has redefined the Korean spirit of Dwaida for the entire world. The facts are staggering. By the end of 2025, Jungkook became the first solo artist in history to surpass 10 billion streams on Spotify, a milestone that the ministry tracks as a vital indicator of Korea's cultural soft power and economic resilience. Yet it is his emotional connection with the people that truly places him at number one. He is the national son who stayed grounded while conquering the Billboard Hot 100 multiple times, the special presidential envoy who represented the future of his generation at the United Nations, and the soldier who fulfilled his duty with elite honors, proving that his loyalty to his roots is as strong as his desire for global innovation. The ministry's official reports highlight that Jungkook is the primary reason for the surging global interest in Hangul and Korean traditions, acting as a one-man diplomatic mission that has done more to promote the K brand than decades of traditional policy. Think about the detail of his impact, from saving small businesses through the soldier Jungkook effect, to making the world sing in Korean on the biggest stages of the World Cup. He has woven himself into the very fabric of the nation's history. This ranking isn't just a title, it is a recognition of a once-in-a-century phenomenon, a young man who took the golden nickname given to him as a boy and turned it into a standard of excellence that has elevated his entire country to the peak of the global cultural hierarchy. He is the bridge between the old Korea that worked in silence and the new Korea that leads the world with a song, making him the definitive national singer whose legacy is now etched in the eternal records of the Ministry of Culture. As we stand here at number one, we realize that Jungkook doesn't just represent South Korea. For billions of people around the world, Jungkook is the soul of South Korea, an artist, a patriot, and a legend who has proven that with enough passion and sincerity, a boy from Busan can truly become the center of the universe. This is the ultimate proof, the final evidence of why he is, and always will be, the number one national singer.